Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Dan. If you're new to the channel or if you've recently subscribed, thanks very much for the support. It's muchly appreciated. In this video we are going to do a retro slash vintage kind of petrol can sticker. I'm over at defont.com because we're going to need a custom font. So I'm going to show you how to download a font and install it onto Inkscape. So I've got to say I'm not sponsored or there's no affiliation with me and defont.com. I just happen to use them because I like this site and they have a pretty good selection. So I've already installed the one that the font that I'd like to use for the project, but I thought I'd just run through how to install a font. And I'll leave a link to the one that I've used so you can copy along if you want to. The reason I like defont.com is because you can search for free fonts which have no copyright issues. The home screen, you'll see over here it says free for personal use. But there are restrictions. You can't use it for commercial use, and I like to have completely 100% free for everything, so I can't get into any trouble with copyright infringement. They used to have a little button that you could press and it would only show you the 100% free ones, but they seem to have updated that and that's gone. So if we go on to new fonts, we can search for the free fonts that we want. If I just go into more options, and if you just check the public domain and 100% free boxes and hit submit, and that'll go from personal use to 100% free, and that is what we want for our projects. Okay, so let's download and install a font. Now it doesn't really matter which one we use at this point because I've already got the one I want to use for the project. So let's just choose one that looks fairly interesting. What's this? Baby Freedom. Now you can preview your text. I know that I'm going to use the word petrol, so let's just type in petrol and scroll back down. So Baby Freedom, let's use that one. So let's check it's 100% free, which it is, and just hit download. And then I'm just going to go over to my downloads, and there it is, babyfreedom.zip. So I'm going to right click and extract all, and extract, and then it'll open up another box, a .ttf. Let's just right click on that one. Now this bit's really important because Inkscape doesn't always recognize new fonts. If you just click install, it'll probably install it for Windows, so you'll be able to use it on Microsoft Office and things like that, but Inkscape won't recognize it. You've got to go for install for all users, otherwise it probably won't work. Just click on that. And you've got to have Inkscape closed for this to work. If you've got it open in the background already, no problem, just close it down, install the font, reopen it, it'll be fine. So let's just open Inkscape, new document, press T for the text tool. Let's just type out the word petrol. It's just defaulted back to the previous text I had. Let's just make this the colour you can see, and then we'll scroll down to Baby Freedom, was it? Baby Freedom. Let me just click off that and zoom in, and I'll just go back to defont.com to show you there it is. Really easy, quick and easy. Once you've done one, you want to put a load on there. So right, on to the next bit. Okay, so we've got a font installed. This one we're using on this project is called Miganti. As I said, I'll leave a link in the description so you can download it and have a look for yourselves. But before we go much further, I've just got to show you this little issue, especially for people who want to make a sticker, or if you're going to use a vinyl cutter with any text. This is really important. If I just add a stroke, you'll see where the letters are, how the font is constructed. There is some overlap, and Inkscape's trying to add a stroke right around every letter. And if you send that to your vinyl cutter will want to cut those little chunks out, and it'll make a real mess. And the way around this is you need to use union on the lettering first to make the one solid outline, and then add your stroke after that, and you'll get around it. Of course, you've got to kind of know that you're finished editing the shape of the text. You can't really do, once it's been made into a path, you're kind of stuck with it, and any editing you want to do to it afterwards would have to be done manually. So I'll just show you. I'll just add the stroke to this so you can see it's exactly the same. I'll literally just type those out and added a stroke. So let's just take the stroke away. So I'm going to go path, object to path, and then I'm going to go over to the nodes tool, and you'll see that every letter is now an individual item. So what I'm going to do is just select the first one, hold down the shift key, and then click on each one in turn, and then I'm going to go path union, and just select that. And then now when we add our stroke back on, the stroke follows around the edges in one piece, and you avoid all these little crossovers. It's nice and neat. So now we've got that little bit out of the way, all I've got to do is drag this one over this to replace it. Let's just move that over there. Actually, we can delete that now, we don't need it. And then I'm just going to swap around the stroke and the main colour. I'm just going to hold down shift and hit the yellow, and then just hit the red on its own. That's those two swap round, and then it's just a case of dropping this back in. And the idea with this was the yellow outline would be sort of submerged in the yellow below, so the yellow just sort of creeps out and follows around. But what I'd like to do is make this an oval, make it a little bit more interesting. So let's go ahead and create an oval, something like that. It's using the previous settings, which could come down to be a little bit smaller. And let's just align these two up, align and distribute. Just got lost there for a second. Oh. And to make this one, I'm going to use group selected objects, click off it, grab that one, grab that paired up object there. Now I can center it properly, and then we can just click back on this and ungroup them. So we want actually just take that stroke off. It's just going to stroke paint and turn that off. So I want to use the oval shape behind to create the outline. So I want to get rid of everything that's not shaded red is going to go. So first we're going to make that a path. So path, object to path, and then path, object to path, and the same on that one, path, object to path. I should be able to click on this one, hold down shift, click on this one, and now this time instead of using difference, we're actually going to use intersection, which is the opposite. So that gets rid of that there, and that will give us a nice little segment. Now because I've used alignment, I know that's exactly half of what that will be. So I'm going to duplicate it by hold down Control and D, and then I'm going to invert it. And click off. I'm going to bring that down. Actually, let's just let Align and Distribute do that for us. Hold down that. I don't want it centered this time. I want it at the top, which is Align Top Edges. Align Top Edges. There we go. And then same again. I'm just going to go click on that. Hold down Shift. Pick up the other one, and then go Path Intersection. And there we go. And it's just a case of bringing these two parts back together. Let's just move that down onto the artboard properly. There we go. If you're going to make this into a sticker, you'd have to do the same as I've shown in previous videos. You have to separate the red from the yellow, and then knock out the internal nodes on the yellow, so you'd have a solid, because if you remove the red, the yellow is literally just a stripe. It's not solid behind there, which would make cutting it a nightmare. And then you'd unify that with the yellow bottom. So if I just, it would actually look like, I'll show you what it would look like if I just turn off the fill and then remove that out of the way. It would basically look like that. That's what your cutter would cut. But you'd have to knock out the internal nodes so that was solid. Otherwise you'd cause yourself little problems here and a few other places. But essentially, that's it. So I hope you got some useful tips out of this one. I'm going to be looking at some recreating logos of famous brands in my own way, and if there's any suggestions you got, leave a note in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.